Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Regan and Dan's Movie Sessions, the show that comes around every now and again, where we just talk nothing but movies. Odds are at some point we're going to talk about something else. At some point I'm going to have to rename the entire channel again. Maybe I'll just go back to the real podcasters. I can't think of anything else that hasn't been taken that's actually anything good, but there we go. Anyway, my name's Regan. I am one half of this illustrious podcast. Again, that pops around every now and again, and I'm joined once again by my delightful co-host who has, he's continued the trend of wearing fictional serial killer jumpers of some description. I think it's changed from last time. I can't actually remember. I think it was Jason last time. We're now on to... No, not Jason. Yes, Jason. No, it was Jason. Was it Jason?
Yeah, it might have been the same shit, actually.
This one just looks like the 2009 remake, which is annoying me, even though I haven't seen it.
I think it actually is, as well.
Anyway, Dan's here. Hello. So, we are back doing a little bit of a discussion episode. I know when we did our best and worst movies of 2024 video, which if you didn't check that one out, please do.
There was a few hot takes.
We had a lot of fun with that one.
And there was a same
There was a few. I did jokingly... Alien, which I still haven't rewatched. And probably never will. If you do, let us know and we'll do something about that. We're not. I did jokingly... I can just see him blinking. There we go. I did jokingly suggest that the next episode we could do would either be on our most anticipated movies of the year, which there's probably a few, and the other one was doing a review of the recently released Wolfman by Lee Winnell. I've seen it. It's crap. I don't want to talk about it.
See, Reagan kind of took the bullet for me in a way because he saw it, thought it was utter crap. I looked at the general consensus, and yeah, it does look pretty crap. So thank you.
No, it's absolutely fine. I'm more than happy watching werewolf movies that are werewolf movies in name only.
It saves me not having to spend like the best part of £7 that I regretfully would want back.
Gratefully, it just came out of my yearly allowance for audience, so it's absolutely fine for me. But good lord. I don't really want to waste my time doing that. So instead, this all stems from the recent news surrounding the upcoming Scream 7, which, if I time this episode release well, should come out a year to the release of that film. Unless I decide to change it, from which case it's...
that's if there's no more problems.
So this might be our only chance to actually talk about Scream 7, because I feel like if the movie's absolutely crap, I don't think either of us are going to really want to talk about it in this form, because that's like extra levels of energy we need to take in terms of talking, recording, editing, thumbnail making, wasting the internet, when I could just write 750 words and you can get the gist. So this is going to be us talking about the updates we've had on Scream 7, as well as some updated thoughts on Scream 6, which we will kick off with first to get that thing out of the way. Now, I haven't fully watched the film again until last night. The last time I'd seen it in full was actually when we went to go and see it back in 2023, which I don't remember if we actually saw it together. Did we? We did not, so it must have just been me. That's bad.
No.
But a lot of it stemmed from me wanting to rewatch it again, because you'd rewatched this fairly recently and your opinion had kind of dropped.
Yeah, about a month ago, so back end of sort of January, I distinctly remember watching it. I didn't log it or anything on Letterboxd, but it was just on Netflix. It was something to put on. So yeah, I rewatched it, and things have changed.
Well, it's interesting for me, because not only did I rewatch the film, I did actually go back and look at my written review, and I also listened to most of what we said in that episode that we did cover us on, which I don't like going back and listening to my
Yeah.
slightly younger voice, or just my voice in general, but
Slightly younger voice.
but I honestly think I was treading on eggshells with that review, because it at least from my perspective and my feelings now, it feels like I'm trying really hard to be as positive as possible, because rewatching the film, I've got a lot of issues with this. And to be honest, I think it's the first Scream movie that I can actively say I don't like. Like, I still like Scream 3 and Screforum, to be honest.
Three.
Yeah. And I still really like 5 Cream. But Scream 6 just doesn't work, I don't think. I think a lot of that Scream magic is devoid in this one. And I don't think it's because of the shift in location. I think that's one of the better things in the film. But I think the reaching when it comes to the meta commentary, the ability for characters, I should say, not actors, otherwise this is a snuff film like Scream 4. The ability for characters to like survive 75 stabbings consecutively and a punch in the head.
We can't forget the punch in the head, absolutely.
Oh no, of course not. No. Just all of that, and they just get up and just run around. A shrine to ghost faces as well, and I'm just sat there thinking, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Like, did I miss all of this 2 years ago? Because apparently I did. I thought it was pretty good I didn't think it was as good as 5 Cream even on the first watch. Mm-hmm. But I still thought it was a good movie. And rewatching it, I'm thinking, it's not bad, but it's just kind of nothing.
Yeah.
For me,
I saw it on when it came out, and View did a double screen of it. So they did the 2022 Scream, which I still really hate the title of that. Why can't you just call it like Scream 5? Like, we've give every other Scream like another number. It's silly. I love the film, but it's just silly. So 5 Cream, and Scream Vi on a
Scream Vi.
double, yeah. And to be honest, at the time, I really liked it. I thought, this is brilliant. You know, I loved the previous one. There's no reason why I'm not gonna like this one. But every time I've rewatched it, which has only really been estimating about 3 times, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
Each time, I'm liking it a lot less. And the most recent one is where my view has really shifted on it quite significantly, I must say. I think you've really nailed it on the head with characters just getting the absolute shit stabbed out of them, and then they get up and run around. It is just stupid. I mean, yes, I can see the argument. I mean, look at Dewey. I mean, that guy who went through absolute hell, but he finally got his comeuppance in Scream 5. But that felt realistic given what actually happened in that scene.
Yeah.
Scream 6 is totally different. It's just almost silly the way it's done. It's the absolute assault with bladed articles, and then people just get up as if it's nothing. I'm thinking, what? Most notably, Mason Gooding's character, Chad, who in the previous film did get a bit of an injury, and yeah, fair enough, like every Scream character has been shanked at some point, you know. They all have their injuries, but this guy, in the latest installment, got double tagged by 2 ghost faces side by side, and he is just taking it. I mean, they're shanking him in the side. That guy should be dead, and yet he's fine. He's just in hospital, as far as I know. Like, toward the end of Scream 6, you see him being wheeled out towards the ambulance. He's put back on, gas mask around him, all that sort of stuff. You know, the oxygen mask, etc., whatever. And he's not dead. I'm like, okay, that is a bit of a problem, because that is just silly. Like, the scene is so brutal because they're just constantly stabbing him and stabbing him, over and over and over again, like 3 or 4 stabs, and that guy would be dead, surely. Like, how did they not hit a vital organ? His kidneys, for instance. Where's the sense? But the Ghostface stuff is... I love the whole age stuff. I think that is really cool, actually. I don't mind
you can see exactly where they got that idea from.
Yeah, it is a bit... Like,
Which slasher franchise can we take that from?
Yeah.
Which one is still vaguely relevant? Which one's still making money for some reason?
Its plot at all, but I think it just has the absolute worst killers of the franchise. They're just shit. They killed like 2 people. I mean, what? They totally twist the rules. I mean, Ghostface picks up a shotgun for the first time ever in Scream history, which is just like, whoa, what's going on here?
Actually using a gun while dressed as Ghostface, I'm like, okay, change things up. It's like, oh, he's finally discovered iron.
That was certainly a shocker for me when the trailer unveiled. You know, you've got the aged, I think it's the Billy Loomis mask. The guy walks into the store after chasing Jenna Ortega's character, Melissa's character, and he just nabs a gun off somebody and just starts hunting them around with a shotgun, thinking, oh.
That's probably one of the best scenes in the film, now? Frankly.
Oh, yeah, it's brilliant because you really don't expect it.
Mm-hmm.
But these badass killers have, like, absolutely no kills, and there's 3 of them this time. How the body count isn't tripled up is just beyond me.
Yeah, I think the other thing that I noticed, actually, beyond the fact that they were I completely forgot that when I was doing the script for Scream 6, which makes it sound like I wrote that film, I made the episode that we did. I am not good enough to write a Scream script, trust me. But I remember that I had to actively Google what the meta-narrative was for Scream 6 because I still didn't get it after watching the film, because I was like, isn't this just the previous one again? Where it's like, oh, it's a franchise. I'm like, yeah, that's what happened last time. I mean, legacy sequel, yes, but you still have that in here as well. I still think...
Yeah, it is a bit recycled, because you get the character of Mindy basically giving the whole film nerd talk about how this is a reinstated franchise or whatever, and it's like there's new rules at play, like anybody's game now. I'm thinking anybody was game in the last one as well.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's really changed.
And at least with that one, you had the balls to kill off a legacy character, and it actually worked.
Exactly.
Whereas this one is like, you were this close to killing actress Courtney Cox. You were this close. But no.
I mean, and Kirby as well. I mean, like, Kirby gets bloody shanked in the Scroforum injury again.
Yeah, I kept on forgetting this, that like she was in Scroforum, because I mean, I clearly just don't remember a lot of Scroforum beyond the fact that we're making a snuff movie for like Stab, and I thought, that's actually really clever, it must be said.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I didn't really clock until this one was actually, so like I mean, Scream is by no means a comedy series, but they've got a good balance of like laughs and the horror. And Scream 5 had that still to a certain extent, but Scream 6 feels like it's just completely into horror, and like any jokes just do not land at all, and I didn't realise that had bothered me that much. I thought, this isn't particularly fun.
Yeah, there really isn't humour in this particular entry. I think it's just all out slasher horror. There's no like quips or anything. It's just Ghostface is here, and now we're gonna just completely and utterly drench the entire scene in blood, because why not?
Mm-hmm. So I mean, yeah. So rewatching this and then looking into all the behind the scenes for Scream 7. I mean, I'm not gonna make this like a beat by beat breakdown of every major thing that's occurred for the upcoming release, but just the noteworthy ones, and obviously later on the one that made me realise actually we do need to talk about this. So a lot of the news that first started dropping was when we weren't really doing any news segments on the podcast, so I don't think we ever spoke about it. We might have done on Graveyard Chit Chat back in the day. I'm not quite sure.
Probably did. Maybe.
Yeah.
I can't honestly remember.
I think like the first bit of news that was actually quite good was the fact that director Christopher Langdon had been hired. This was in August 2023. So he did the Happy Death Day movies, Freaky, and I think he did it. There's a film on Netflix called We Have a Ghost or something. A similar sort of. Yeah, I mean, like, he's a similar kind of filmmaker to the Radio Silence duo that did 5 and 6 anyway. So I thought that's actually really cool that he's doing it.
Yes.
Because it just kind of fit in. That didn't last long. He was only on, I think, for like 3-4 months, if that. Because obviously, the biggest news that dropped was the fact that in November 2023, it was confirmed that Melissa Barrera had basically been fired.
Indeed. Which was
now I'm not going to.
I mean, if you're gonna get into it, basically it's all to do with social media. That's what it's down to, and it was her opinion on what is basically happening over in Palestine, and whoever at the production did not like that, so they said, okay, well, because you've taken to social media, vented your opinion, you're gone. That is basically it. Yeah.
And no offense, I've seen the posts. 'Cause I mean, I've followed her on social media for the last couple of years. Speaking of someone who doesn't get particularly political, what she was saying wasn't. I've seen way worse from people, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
Like, no offense, she's like trying to call for some sort of like peace talks. And yes, there were comparisons to other organizations in the past, but no offense, those comparisons I think are justified, frankly. Now, I don't act, so I'm not going to get sacked for that, but just that was just pathetic, frankly. I think I can't remember who sent it to who first, whether I sent it to you or you sent it to me, but I think both of us were like, okay, the interest has dropped immediately.
Yeah, it became a bit of a concern because now you've got an actress who is the main lead in 2 of these films now, and now this third one out of this trilogy is no longer going to happen with this actress. So it's like, well, what do we do? we've lost the main actress now. Who's going to take her place? And then I think was it shortly after that Jenna Ortega announced her
literally the
departure
next
from it
day
as well. Yeah. So then, you've lost the other angle.
Yeah. Because that's it, because the official release said it was due to scheduling conflicts with Wednesday Season 2. I know full well that Sheila dropped out, because what's the point?
It was because Barrera was gone. That was it.
And quite frankly, if you get rid of Sam, you're going to have to get rid of Tara. There's no point in just having one or the other. Because that's the thing, I think even we spoke about it at the time when Scream 6 came out, and we were sort of like conceptualizing ideas for what a Scream 7 would look like. And I can still guarantee the idea was, I think, to pay off the opening for Scream 6, where it, for just like a brief few minutes, you know the killer. And you think, oh, is this going to be the entire film? It isn't. But I thought that you can make that work. And no offense, there's 6 movies in, you can do something a bit different.
You absolutely have to, yeah.
Yeah. And no offense, they were building to that with her character anyway. So now the ending of Scream 6 has been sort of retconned into the actual ending for her character, which kind of works. I mean, to be honest, Barrera has said more recently, I think it was when they were doing the press tour for Abigail, that she was never really under contract for Scream 7. It was just assumed she was going to do it. So her ending technically does work for Scream 6. Not entirely, to be honest. I would have liked a little bit more.
I mean, if you think back to the ending, I mean, my sort of idea of it was that basically Tara and her would basically have a fallout again because of, well, she dresses up as Ghostface in order to kill Ghostface, and she goes completely and utter bananas. So I think it's like, you need help. I'm going to just back the hell away from you for a bit now.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of thought that would be an angle, but I think the way they've ended it anyway, where she just drops the Ghostface mask and just trods on with life, fair play. walking away from past, yeah, fine. Kind of works.
Yeah, because then, I mean, so you're like, okay, they're gone, so we're probably going to go back to Nev Campbell with as many baskets of money as possible, saying, can you please fix this? Please. Which, Scream 6, I mean, you know, while I don't really like the movie now, I will say it does a good enough job as...
Well, it can work without Nev Campbell. It can
Exactly.
absolutely work.
And then March 2024 happens, and she confirms that she's going to be back, and is now going to focus on the Prescott family. I was like, how much do you want to bet now that the tagline for Scream 7 is going to be, this time it's personal?
Do you know what it is? I can see it being something along those lines, yeah. Absolutely. Do you know what? I hate the fact that it's just made me think of this, and I can't believe I've already just clocked on. Do you know what it's basically doing then? Her 40 ween.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Laurie Strode and her family? Sound familiar?
I mean, if they did that well, I would have been happy with it, but they didn't, so I'm not.
Yeah, okay.
So...
I do appreciate that, actually, going with she's never really escaped from Ghostface now. It's after her family. Yeah, because if for some reason or other that the remaining members of the core four are in this, how one of them isn't dead is completely stupid, and the other one should just be like on her way elsewhere. Really, like, you know, she's lost her brother. He's been killed by 2 Ghostfaces, but he's magically alive. Okay. So,
well, that's the thing, because
please don't bring them back. Let's just put the core 4 to bed now.
That's the problem. I was going to reference this in a bit, but no. Chad and Mindy are still in Scream 7. Yeah, but that was literally like a month ago. I was like, how long have they been filming this? It's like, what the hell is this? We'll get to the other cast in a bit. You know, there's more to say on that one. But yeah, so initially I thought, okay, so they're just going to ignore the 5 and 6 stuff and just do like a Sydney-centered story. Yeah, clearly not, because half of the core 4 are in this, and I swear to God, if they go back to Woodsboro, everyone's an idiot. Like, like, it's not going to be set in New York anymore, because all of them are going to be like, no, we'll just go to a different state at this point. Or just go to a different country. Yeah, actually, that's a good point.
How many states is it going to be before it's like, okay, we've done New York, we've done Washington, we've done Texas.
Just go and live in Iceland or something instead. It's nice and peaceful over there. Just go and live there. So it could literally just be like Scream 7 with no Ghostface, because everyone's actually doing all right, and it's just 2 hours of that.
I think my main concern is, what the hell are they going to do with Gail Weathers? Because now Gail has been hospitalized, so are they going to really like kind of set it around the other characters as well as Sydney? Because then it's going to be very mix and match. It's like 1 minute you focus on Sydney Prescott's family, and now we're back to the remaining core 4. Well, core 2 plus 1.
Half 2.
Yeah.
They're actually a time now.
Yeah.
Like, unless Chad and Mindy are back literally to be killed in the first scene, which I feel like that'd be a bit of a middle finger, to be honest, but I would not be shocked if that's where they went.
Yeah.
Because unless the meta-narrative is that, like, Sydney and, like, all of them somehow keep on surviving, except for Dewey. So...
Like, is Chad, like,
I've just thought
a robot or something?
I'll get to
because that guy is just apparently invincible to stabbings.
Yeah, a little bit.
Bloody Nora.
So when Nev Campbell was confirmed to return, she also said that Kevin Williamson was going to be directing. Of course, long-time collaborator on the Scream franchise. I hadn't realised he'd already directed movies before. I honestly thought that this was his first film, and I thought, that's not a good idea. But it's not. He's done a few, but I think most of them are... I mean, you can tell me if I'm wrong. Most of them are not that good.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at his director thing now, and all of his credits are, so far, Scream 7 2026 and Teaching Mrs. Tingle from 1999. That's his director credit.
Great. What a fantastic filmography.
But his writing credits, obviously, Scream V, Scream 5, 2, 4, 3. And Scream Generations 2012, whatever the hell that is.
That sounds like an anime thing.
So it's basically like a... Okay, never mind. It's basically just a knockoff Scream.
Oh, right, okay, that's fine. So yeah, even giving him the reins of this franchise now, and I'm like, this feels just like a really safe pair of hands. And no offense, we've been in this scenario before with like IPs getting safe hands, and it just does not work. I'm trying not to reference Star Wars right now, but it's getting really, really
You're trying
tough.
so hard.
It's so hard not to reference Disney every week. Well, every episode, not every week. We haven't gone back to that sort of.
Gonna have to like bring like a jar and just put like some money in it every time. But then again, you'd probably be in debt to yourself, you know.
I'm already in debt, so it's fine.
Well,
no, I'm not. It's fine. But yeah. So obviously, the big one that happened. I think it was you that sent me this, but I think I had already seen it. Was the announcement that Matthew Lillard was going to be back as Stu Macher, but also Scott Foley returning as I'm pretty sure this is right. Isn't this Sydney's stepbrother or something? Roman Bridger?
yes. So the killer in Scream 3, yeah.
Which
So they're bringing back 2 dead killers.
it seemed quite apt, considering there's a line of dialogue in Scream 6 when when Kirby and Mindy are looking at the telly, the supposedly killed Stu, and they're both like, I wonder if he's actually dead. And you're like, what do you mean you wonder if he's actually dead? Do you know how heavy the tellies are from the 1990s?
90s? Like, my God.
It's literally like having a car dropped on your face. He's dead. Shaggy isn't coming back. Okay.
As soon as I saw that, I thought, oh, Christ, please don't. Because the only angle that is going to work, and this is just my sort of idea of it, I guess, is if he's been carted away to a mental institution and they pull a Silence of the Lambs where they have to basically dive into Stu's psyche in order to find a other Ghostface murdering and stuff, and I just really hope that isn't going to be the case.
There is no way that any screenwriter on this planet can make that work without someone coughing. And being like, no.
Absolutely not.
Like, there just isn't. Like, you couldn't even do like what they did with Skeet Ulrich coming back as Billy as like a hallucination, which granted, you can hear in his voice he's 30 years older, even though his face is saying otherwise.
So that's one way. The other way is exactly how they've done it in the past 2 with like flashbacks. But again, you know, people age, so
they do.
Are they going to have flashbacks of Roman and Stu for some reason or other? Who knows?
I don't get it. Like, I don't understand. I mean, obviously, I don't understand because we haven't seen the film yet. But
no.
If it's really going to be that Stu's still alive, why the hell is it Roman as well then? Like, he's dead as a doornail in a PG-13 Scream movie. Like, he's dead.
Dead as a doornail in a PG-13 Scream film.
I think I'm pretty sure. I mean, fair enough. He was just stabbed in the back and the chest, so I was like, "Oh, it's just minimal blood this time." But yeah, like how? But more the point, why? Like what?
Yeah, it's
what does
not
it?
as if he's like the most memorable of killers.
No,
I mean, yeah,
not
he's
really.
iconic simply for the fact that he's like a singular Ghostface, whereas every other installment before, there's always been 2 killers. I mean, even Scream
3
4,
if it's
the
Scream
film
6.
that came after. Well, yeah, you know, you've got to up the Ghostface count. You know, I can't wait to get to like Scream 32, and we've got like 20 of the buggers.
I was just gonna go with instead of Woodsboro, it's Ghostboro, and everyone's a Ghostface.
Yeah, they just hold like a hippie jam festival just full of Ghostfaces.
There's also like a Comic-Con thing there as well. Just everyone dressed up as Ghostface.
Well, I can imagine it being sort of like the Stabathon from Scream 4 when they all go to the barn and there's just like loads of Ghostfaces, or the opening scene from Scream 2 when they're all in the cinema.
That was fun, especially seeing that on the big screen. That was fun. But
I'm in a cinema watching a horror cinema scene.
that's like, wow, what are the odds of that? But yeah, I don't get it. Like, it wasn't even sort of like a meh, which is what it was with like Kevin Williamson and Nev Campbell. It was just more of a what the shit? Like, why? Like, genuinely, I mean, I cannot think of... I mean, I thought I could think of something before about how they could bring Stu and Roman back, but now I'm thinking about it, it's gone, so it was probably terrible.
Yeah.
But just genuinely, there's no way. Like, unless it's like a cop-out and it's just like a vocal thing, which I don't feel like you would drop this new story like this if it's... Yeah, exactly. Not unless it's on like the other end of a phone call. Because like the only other thing I can think of is if it's a bit like going back to Scream 3, when briefly Ghostface just uses the voices from the other characters.
Yeah.
But,
unless that's what they're there for. I mean, it really kind of sounds like it's going to be more sort of like along the voice or flashback sort of thing. Because if they really do bring back characters and then they're not dead, I've lost all faith in the franchise, because they have like a rule. It's like, you've got to shoot them in the head. That's how they die.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, so these guys aren't dead, so what we're going to do now is going to, shoot them in the head, but they're not going to be dead. We're going to put them in a wood chipper to make sure they're dead. Or, do a Halloween Ends and just throw the guy in a trash compactor.
Was it not a wood chipper? I could have sworn it was a wood chipper anyway.
Yeah, I think it's like one of those...
it's a 2-in-1.
What the hell you... Basically, you just get
it's a 2-in-1.
Yeah.
Just in case.
2-in-1.
Why is that just making me think this is going to be such a stupid reference, and I'm trying to actively remember the name of it. What's the name of the the stupid like adverts you get on the telly with just random inventions that no one else would think of, and it's I can't remember the name of the company, but anyway, I'm just picturing that. And they've just somehow come up with a 2-in-1.
At least yours is kind of sensible, because I'm kind of picturing when Homer Simpson becomes an inventor and he creates the makeup shotgun. The 2-in-1.
I expect the references to The Simpsons off Sarah, not you.
That's kind of what I imagined, but yeah.
Oh, what's the name? Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about the thing. We don't have a script for that bit, because why the hell would we? Much like with Scream 7, why the hell have you got a script? But yeah, so obviously, like, all our theories about what Scream 7 was going to be are completely false now, because so much of it has changed. I mean, I think it was referred to as a creative retool, which is just the nicest thing possible of saying, we have had to start from scratch, because we haven't got a clue now.
Yeah, it is basically just politely putting, we haven't got a clue, guys.
No, like, it's one thing to do like a whole load of reshoots on a movie to try and fix it. It's another to just start from scratch entirely, because it's like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, like, I'm still very nervous for it, because, I mean, there isn't like a plot thing or anything on Letterboxd yet. Not that I really expected it to be, because, it comes out whenever next year, isn't it? Like the summertime next year when it comes out?
26th of February.
Next year? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hence why we're filming this like.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Like
yeah.
2 weeks before that. Yeah, it's a weird month to be putting in. But then Scream 5 came out in January 2022, and then Scream 6 came out in March 2023. So, yeah. Why can't you just put the slashers and the horrors in October where it belongs?
Where it feels a bit more appropriate, but hey ho.
That's whatever. Yeah, I mean, in general, I don't really know where this is going to go, and like I say, I'll be shocked if if it's actually great, considering how low my feelings on Scream 6 came after 2 years.
Yeah.
Well, a year and a half. No, about 2 years and one rewatch. But, I mean, is there anything particularly that you would like to see from this, based on what we've got?
Well,
beyond just good?
as I mentioned, I don't mind the whole focus on Sidney Prescott and her family, given that you've pretty much halved the core four. So
It's a shame it's not
focusing
literal.
on Chad and Mindy. Chad is severely wounded. Gail Weathers is severely wounded. Mindy is severely wounded. So are they just going to have like a standoff against Ghostface, severely injured in a hospital? I hope not. So yeah, let's focus on Nev Campbell returning. Focus on a whole bunch of other characters. I'm assuming she's going to have kids, all these years later. She's bound to, because I think in 5, when Dewey rings to basically say, look, Ghostface is back, I'm sure she mentions that she's got a husband, she's got a kid. So yeah, whole other cast of new characters to get invested in. Not that Chad and Mindy are bad characters, but I think if you just have those two solely leading a film where they haven't really played much other than the side characters, it's going to be a bit of a... I'm going to be invested elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Really. So, but I would quite like to see... Let's think. Well, not that any Scream film has really, gone bad, but I'd actually like to see a really intimidating killer this time around, instead of one that just is so crap at being Ghostface.
I mean, to be honest, if you think about it, technically all of them are. I mean, I don't know who would be considered to be the best. Well, obviously beyond, the original two, because it's just iconic, which is why you're using one of them. It's...
Well, see, I really liked Jill Roberts from Scream 4.
You did, yeah.
Who turns out to be Sydney's cousin, because she's got a whole master plan. I mean, she screws over her accomplice and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of what Scream 2 did, but I thought Scream 4 was a hell of a lot more sinister. Given that it's like Sydney's direct bloodline, it was like, oh, damn, this is heating up. She's got a whole master plan, so I would really like a Ghostface killer who is going to really pose quite a threat. I don't really need another Stu Mocker, to be honest, because one's
which is
enough.
ironic.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is ironic given that he's returning in this franchise.
Because that's the thing, I mean, even in my head, I think the only version of this film that I think would work is like trying to figure out a reason for going after Sydney again is trying to scrub clean, oh, what's that doing? Okay, we're fine. Whew. The screen just went off and I was like, no, fuck this. This is not happening again. Anyway, no. So, the only version of this film that I can see working is, as a reason to go after Sydney again, is to sort of, scrub clean anything to do with Ghostface and Woodsboro, so just get rid of everyone that's somehow still alive.
Yeah.
So in that respect, you bring back Roman and Stu for the first scene, you gut them like a fish that's survived another 20 years. 20 years. That's how you get rid of Chad and Mindy. You get rid of those pretty quickly as well. And just get rid of everyone. Just get rid of everyone. That is also me saying that at this point I don't want a Scream 8. Because despite the fact I'd said, I'm sure we said in the Scream 6 review, there are ways that you can continue doing Scream every 10 years. But when you keep on going back to the Prescotts, it's right, well, you can't do it then. Because no offense, Nev Campbell isn't going to live forever.
Yeah, I mean, Scream 6 is a film that does work without Nev Campbell being the star for once. It really does actually work. But if you're focusing on her for another 3 films, you're just going to get bored of it really quickly, I think. You've got 5 films with her in. I mean, the 5th one, she's not really the main character, so to speak. She's just sort of there. She does play an important part, yes, but I mean, 1 to 4, she's the main star. So, yeah, I guess we're gonna see, yeah.
I mean, like I say, I'll be shocked if we do actually end up talking about Scream 7 when it comes out. I mean, if it's absolutely awful, but there's something interesting to talk about, then maybe. But I feel like, I think even you said it outside of us recording these, I think you said that the only way you'd probably end up watching Scream 7 at this point is on streaming. And I was like,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Because
That's like...
when all this...
That
all
isn't
this
even a nail
happened,
in the coffin.
And I really like the Scream films. But holy hell, this is just a sign that maybe it's time to really put a nail in its coffin now.
What it is, though, as well, and I think that this was brought up in actually relation to the new Captain America movie that's coming out soon. When there was a question posed about... Let's face it, that one's also been going through a lot of stuff behind the scenes. Like, it was delayed a year to do a load of reshoots, more reshoots on top of that, and everything changing. This has been happening a lot over the last few years. I think the issue is not actually studios interfering, because they do it on everything. It's the fact that we know about it too much.
Well, yeah, in an age of the internet, everything can just get leaked.
Exactly.
And look at No Way Home. Like, all the stuff with
that. And this isn't something we're ever going to go back on. Like, it just isn't. That's just not how the world works. But, like, look at older movies that had a crap ton of studio interference, and a lot of the time it's to actually make a film get fixed. That's usually how it works.
I mean, bar Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
We don't talk about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 even in the positive side of things, or even just like the discussion side of things. It's the worst one out of every single one.
And he's including Halloween Resurrection, by the way.
Yeah, Halloween 2 is worse. It's like
Halloween. Then Busta Rhymes karate kicking Michael Myers out of a window.
No, like, I think in terms of ranking the Halloween 2s, it's number 3 is Halloween 2,
Halloween 2,
which just makes it sound like Michael Myers doing ballet, which sounds hilarious. He actually still has the he actually still has the suit on with just the tutu. Then it's Halloween 2. Then it's Halloween 222.
Yeah.
222. Anyway, but just the fact that because we know that things have been changed a lot, it immediately means that our expectations are going to be very one-sided once you see the film, because you're going to be looking for the stuff that's changed, and you shouldn't really be doing that. Like, I think, like, just like the big two that did that, I think for me was, Rogue One back in 2016 and Justice League 2017. So in rapid succession, with two studios that just don't know what they're doing. That still hasn't changed, to be honest. No. But I think had we not known of the amount of changes going on behind the scenes, I think the response would be a bit different. That stopped me saying the 2017 Justice League is actually secretly a masterpiece. It's got things I like in it, funnily enough, as some movies do, except for Wolfman. But I am just kind of sat here thinking, would this be a different sort of conversation if we'd seen Scream 7 and not known about the issues? Would that have actually made the film better? I don't know, because we're not time travelers. The film doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
It's still getting filmed literally as we speak.
I mean, it from the sound of it, I mean, although Kevin Williamson is directing it, yes, he has writing credits. I'm thinking, well, this guy has so many writing credits, going to director is going to be a bit of a leap and bounds. I mean, yes, the two work closely together, director, writer work closely together on sets, but still, it's a whole other sort of task ahead. So whether he can really pull off directing a Scream film, and he's got a hell of a lot to live up to, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's going to be to a point where I'm going to absolutely hate it, but I'm not expecting utter brilliance. I'm expecting sort of mediocrity at best. And I think it'll be...
And that's been generous.
It's kind of... I suppose in a way it's sort of politely saying that this franchise does really need one entry that just isn't all that good. Because I've liked every single one of them. I suppose on a very detailed rewatch of Scream 6, that might totally change. Given my current feelings towards it, it might totally and utterly change. Who knows? Like, Scream 7 might actually be better than 6. Like, who knows? I'll take it.
I mean, I mean, you know, it would be nice if it was. I just don't see how it's even possible to do that, because then my issues with Scream 6, you need to make the meta-narrative work better. You need to inject a bit more humour into this again. Give us characters I actually care about. And keep characters dead. Oh, wait, they've already failed on that one. Bugger. Twice. No, 4 times, actually, technically.
I think that should be, like, the top of the list. Keep characters dead.
Yeah.
God's sake.
Like, this isn't Star Wars. We're not going to have, like, a sudden clone of Stu Macker.
Yeah, because, like, as soon as Matthew...
I have died before.
It's just like, oh, for God's sake. Like, is a 90s TV falling on some guy's head just not enough anymore? Is that not enough?
Yeah.
Like, for goodness sake. The guy's dead, okay? Like, Christ.
I swear to God, if in the actual movie, he is actually dead, and this has just been some sort of, like, ridiculous stunt to, like, get people's eyes on Scream 7.
Not
like,
only did the TV
you don't need to
fall on
do
his
that.
head, the guy was electrocuted
exactly.
from it as well. So if he ain't dead from that, right, Jesus himself was there to bring him back.
I was thinking more along the lines of one of the stupid deaths from Horrible Histories with the guy who just doesn't die, he just keeps on surviving. Just like, no, I survived. It's like, let me get this straight.
Yeah, I just hope they're back just solely for, like, a flashback thing, and they haven't actually brought back these characters, because if they do, then, like, God only knows what they do in a sequel. They bring back, like, I don't know, bloody Billy Loomis's mother from Scream 2, who was shot point blank in the face. Like, for goodness sake. Like, if that really is the case, the franchise has been utterly dragged through the mud at that point.
No, it has absolutely jumped the shark. I think that's like the limit there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we'll wrap things up there before we start getting any angrier, because just sort of...
I'm starting to get a little bit angry now.
I shouldn't have done this. We should have talked about something positive. Has there been anything positive recently?
How's the hell?
Companion, go and watch that. It's brilliant. It's just like Ex Machina but stabbier.
Ex Machina but a bit more stabbier.
Ex Stabbier. There you go, Ex Stabbier.
It's not Excalibur, it's Extabia.
That sounds awesome.
That would be an amazing sequel.
But yeah, we'll wrap things up there on our discussion on the upcoming Scream 7. Obviously, as you can tell, we're both really looking forward to it. It's going to be an amazing film.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's going to be as good as the original.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm choking now. There we go. But yes, thank you very much for listening to us sort of rant and ramble, as is usually what happens on these episodes. Usually the more fun ones where we just sort of lose the complete plot. I've also now realised the name of the company that does the inventions that I said before. JML. It's that one. The 2-in-1 wood chipper from JML. Oh, I'm so boring, as you can tell. But yes, like I said, thank you very much for listening, and well, we'll be back at some point. I'm not even going to put like a pin in what the hell we talk about next.
Just be back, as like every Ghostface character has said.
We will find a way to come back, even if it means having to resurrect ourselves after 30 years.
Yeah.
And on that note, but yes, thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you at some point in the future. It's goodbye from Dan.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye.